Friend Zone Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus, also known as your favorite Mogo. With my best friend, my BFF, my partner, my Mike Larry. Yeah. Bad boys for life.
Thought we was having some technical difficulties.
Nothing technical wrong.
We all
How you
good.
doing? What's going on?
I'm good. You know what I got to see though? Bad Boys
Which one?
1 and 2 this weekend when my baby was getting her hair done. I said, yeah,
Are you showing her the classics?
we might. I might.
Are you Mike this week?
I feel like I might.
Oh, you got some of your chest.
Shh. I'm just Mike. I'm feeling my Mike Lowry energy.
You have to wish her happy birthday too.
Happy 17th birthday to my baby. Y'all, 364 days. I'm going to have an 18-year-old. Jesus, take the wheel and drive fast.
So, we're going to get right into it. I actually missed you too.
You miss me?
This is the first time I seen you since last week. I told you got to get this together. First time I seen you since last week.
Weekend's been busy, but we slowly get back into the normal routine. So we're going to work that out.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Something you saw, something you heard throughout the week that caught your attention that you want to bring into today's show.
Accountability. My boy, who I say it was, Tank. I was listening to the song when I actually made the post. And I'm like, look at Tank. He was being real accountable in that song. And maybe I Deserve. I think it's just called I Deserve. But he was very much so accountable in that song.
Someone else talked about being accountable last week too.
Who was it?
You remember you sitting next to your best friend when I said the season of
accountability? Showed it. I just told you this week been weekend. Don't charge it to my head or my heart.
That's good. No, I like that song a lot too because it does.
I got it.
Although you say that that song shows accountability, I like the difference that song shows a lot of vulnerability. A lot of times where, especially when when we wrong, we'll tell you all the reasons why you made us wrong. Yeah, I went out and cheated. Yeah, I went out and did this. But the reason why I did it is because you did X, Y, Z. So the whole idea of being vulnerable is say, you know what? I deserve everything in what you're doing to me. So I like the vulnerability part of it.
I like that. You always bringing up a new perspective on things. I like that. I like that.
Change the perspective. All right, for me, something I saw, something I heard. Normally, I don't be on Facebook much. But this week I was strolling through Facebook and I saw somebody did a post. I just learned I can't vent to all of my friends.
That's deep.
It was real deep, and it made me think that everybody that say to your friend, they may say they want you to do good, but they leave out a part. They just don't want you to do better than them. So many people, and it did. And it put me in a place of just thinking about a lot of stuff I've been going through, a lot of things that I've seen. So many people tell me, man, you always so encouraging. You always saying those good things, man. Anytime you need something, you can call Marcus. You can do this, you can do that. But those are the same people that didn't hit like. Those are the same people that don't hit subscribe. Those are the same people that don't tell other people to watch your stuff but they'll be the first one to say you're so encouraging. You so said something to lift me up. So it really made me think. It put me in a place where people want to see you do good, but they just don't want to see you do better than them. And maybe it was just me that's been so naive to think all this time that just because I want everybody to win, that everybody think the same way. Like, man, I want you to get a house, just don't get a house bigger than mine. I want you to get a car, just don't get a car better than mine. And I just hope that somehow, some way, we can get away from that and just want everybody to win. It's enough. It's enough W's for everybody.
Agreed.
It's enough W's for everybody.
That's my biggest thing. Me making money ain't gonna stop you from getting yours. Please. Let's just love each other.
I just wanted to put that out there. I thought about that when I read and I felt when I read it when it said you just can't vent to all of your friends.
You cannot.
And it didn't say enemies. It said you can't vent to all your friends. So if you can't vent to your friend, who are you supposed to vent to?
I have friends. You got some who you gonna share this business with. And you got some, you better shut your mouth.
That's why I love that saying. With friends like these, who need enemies? You don't need enemies. You got friends like these. No, that's a whole nother topic. I'm gonna get
We
off
said
that.
we ain't gonna do that
Mm-mm.
today.
All right, I'm gonna jump right into the topic. The trust issues. Do you trust people until they do or say something that make you lose their trust, or you don't trust them at all and allow for them to build trust? Which one are you?
I am the person that actually I trust people from the beginning. So I'll trust you until you give me a reason not to trust you. Um, Simply because that's the same thing as judging a book by its cover. Oh, I don't like them, or I'm not gonna give them the opportunity because I've seen this characteristic revealed, or because another person has told me this about this person. So I tell people, no matter who it is, the relationship, when I meet them, I met people who, oh, don't believe what you heard about me. No, I'm going to believe how I experience you, not how someone else has, because different people bring out different experiences in other people as well. So, yeah, I'm that person who I'll trust you until you give me a reason not to trust you.
I like them. So it's almost like a teacher. You start off with an A,
You
and
start
you're
off
gonna
with an A.
dwindle down from there.
Yeah. And once you dwindle down,
It's hard to get
you
it
know
back.
me. Ooh, I get
It's hard to
mean.
get it
You
back.
know, I can be evil
You
sometimes.
can.
Yeah.
I don't know that
You done
side.
heard some of the stuff I done told you, I done said to
I
people
done
now.
probably participated in some of the stuff that you did when you was in your evil ways.
See?
But we ain't gonna get into that. For
It
me,
ain't they
now,
business.
I used to be, and some people that know me probably say that I'm the other one. I'm a person that's very I sit back, I watch, I observe. I may not trust you until you do something to make me trust you. I think that's how I used to be. Now I'm in a place where um I trust you to be exactly who you are. So my expectation is I only have one expectation of you, and that's to be exactly who you are. And I think I made a mistake so many times of putting the expectation of people to treat them the way in which I treat them. So yeah, man, if I'm trustworthy, I'm gonna trust them. I have no reason not to trust them. Then all of a sudden, when they do something to bother me or hurt me or give me a different perspective of them, now I'm sitting around hurt. So now I'm going to trust you to be exactly who you are. I'm gonna trust you to be a lion. You know what? You might bite me if I put my hand in that cage. So I'm not mad at you. I just know this is how I got to move with you. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of us make, that we put this expectation on people, and when they don't live up to that expectation, now we either A, find fault with that person. I don't even find fault with people anymore. You have to be who you are. We will get so upset with people, then we say, you know what, Brittany, for you, I'm gonna climb this wall for you. I would get mad if you say, I ain't finna climb no wall, I'm gonna walk the stairs. I got to accept that all you can do is climb those stairs. So I just now, my trust level go according to whomever you are. I'm gonna trust you to be who you are. I'm not putting no expectations on nobody no more. Be who you are, and I'm gonna keep moving according to that. You a liar? I'm gonna trust you to be a liar. I'm not gonna believe nothing come out of your mouth. You a giver? Oh, okay, they give. I'm not gonna put that expectation on other people no
Because
more.
one thing I tell people, you will not put your expectations of me on me.
I like to expound on that one. I like that.
You will not, like you said, we put expectations on people,
Mhm.
and we say, for example, like you said, you used to expect people to be like you
Mhm.
and show up like you. You can't place that on nobody else. Like you just said, Brittany, I climb this wall for you, and oh,
Right.
well, I'm gonna take these stairs.
Right.
Brittany, you wouldn't climb a wall for me, so no, you won't put your expectations of me on me.
I like that. But subconsciously we do that.
We do.
Subconsciously
I'm guilty of that.
and I think that's because we place people in a role that they don't know they was being placed in. I've been in a lot of relationships where they thought they was somebody to me, but I had in my mind who they was for me because of what they were doing for me in that particular moment in time. Especially after I lost my grandfather. When I lost him, everybody was a placeholder in some shape, form, or fashion. This person may have been just someone that I text all the time that gave me some conversation. They probably thought they was going to be my future girlfriend. But no, you wasn't. You were just somebody that was texting at the time. So I think we have to be clear on our expectations too, especially as it relates to trust.
Give me a little more of that.
What, being clear on our expectations?
Yeah. You said, because you said as it relates to trust.
Yeah, because what is it that you really want out of a relationship? That's that gray area. We would sit back and we allow someone to think things are a certain way, And we know that's not what we want. I think you brought this up a couple of episodes ago when you were saying we would go out and we would date people, knowing what we want to do, knowing what the end goal is going to be, but we still would allow them to move a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be woman or man enough. I think somebody calling me. You have to be woman or man enough to say, this is not what I'm going to do. This is not what I want. This is how we need to move. And I think we have the onus of doing that. Carla, who are you? What's going on?
Hey, this is the one and only Mr. Theo Huff, Chicago's very own. How you doing, Mr. Mark?
Theo, what's going on, Theo?
Hey, Theo.
How y'all doing?
We're good.
I've been checking out the show, man. Hey, I feel every bit of y'all, what y'all say. Hey, you gotta believe a person for who they are. Nothing more, nothing less. And you gotta have nothing but the best, I'm telling you.
Hey, Theo, while we got you online, I want you to talk about the show you got coming up.
Hey, man, if y'all not doing nothing, actually, December the 22nd,
Okay.
I will be doing a fundraiser for the church. It's called Walls Memorial, 200 South Sacramento Boulevard. It's right about Sacramento and Jackson.
Okay.
And if you want to have a good time, listen to good gospel music and Christmas music, hey, the tickets is number $25 as well. I'm going to donate a couple of tickets as well. So I would love to have y'all in the place.
And
Okay.
Theo, I appreciate it. Now that is around the Christmas time. You trying to get me put out a good happy home. So I'm gonna try my best.
Bring the wife.
I'm gonna try my best
He say it's
to
down
see
to
what
the
I can
church.
figure out what we can do. And plus we might raffle off some tickets for you too. So thanks for calling in, Theo. And I really appreciate it. And we want to support you in any way in which we can.
And the same is, my brother. I love y'all. Keep doing what y'all doing. And I'm going to share this video about 100 times.
We appreciate you.
Theo. You be safe, brother.
All right, brother.
That was my boy, Theo. You know what? I want to go right into the segue of the next question, especially as it relates to talking about trust and relationships and expectations. You might really like this one. I can't wait to hear you talk about this one too. Have anything or what has happened in your past relationships, how have that shaped your perspectives on love now?
So, oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, when I'm dealing with my things that I've dealt with in my past relationships, whether it be good or bad, the good things, we always want to keep that. Like, okay, you feel like that worked for you, you did something good, this is what we'll keep that in our pocket and use it, we moving forward. However, when it comes to the bad things, I think that shows what you don't want to deal with when it comes to looking for your next mate. Like, certain things will be, these are things that you would consider deal breakers off top. My past relationships just show me how to know how to view red flags. Like, okay, is this person you love bombing?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get to calling me, I miss you. You just text me 15 minutes ago. What you mean you miss me? And why do you miss me so much? Do you miss me because you genuinely miss me? Or you're trying to see what it is that I'm doing within that time frame, in that 15 minutes that you haven't heard from me last? So, dealing with the negative aspects, that has showed me things that I wouldn't want to deal with when it came to my future relationships. But as I said in the beginning, I still give everybody that A+ starting off. So,
but not necessarily, because if you're going off something that happened in your past and you're going into a new relationship, do you think they are paying for whatever it is that your ex did or didn't do?
absolutely not.
They didn't. They're not.
Absolutely not. Because grandma always told me, you don't let the next person pay for something somebody else did. These two totally different people.
I think that's the difference between men and women. Well, at least for me, I can only speak for me,
Mhm.
but I think a lot of men probably can agree with this. Whereas though we are already told by society the way in which we're supposed to be. You supposed to have multiple women. One woman ain't supposed to please you. You supposed it's okay. If a woman go out with multiple men, you know what she's called. If a man go out with multiple women, he's a
okay.
player. He's he doing what he need to do. And I think that can work in the reverse because something that happened to me in a past relationship that I didn't even know had such an impact on me until I got older was the idea of being vulnerable.
Okay.
When I was vulnerable in a relationship and I didn't receive the type of reaction or I didn't receive the type of care or comfort that I felt a man is supposed to, although I was young, was supposed to receive in that space, it made me not want to be as vulnerable once I got older into my relationships. And I think my relationships took a hit because I refused to be vulnerable. Because the last time I was vulnerable, this is what I got. So for sure, I'm not gonna do that no more. So I think that's one of the things that hindered me the most moving forward in my relationships is when I was being vulnerable. Then all of a sudden, we supposed to be vulnerable in relationships, but if you get hurt, it's very, very hard to revert back to something in which hurt you and scarred you before.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. What you said as well when you said you think you speak for a majority of men, um, because I had an ex was very vulnerable. I don't know what it was this day, but he opened he opened up like a new book,
Hmm.
and he told me he was like, you know what? I think I'm still hurt from when I was 14 years old, and we was like 20. Well, he was older than me, so I was like 26. He might have been 28. And I think I'm still hurt. Like I was really in love with her, but he ended up finding out the girl had talked to a friend of his, a cousin, somebody who he knew. And he was like, it messed up my trust when it came to dealing with women. I said, but look how far along you are. He said, it really bothered me. Like
Yeah,
he said, that really tore me up.
you don't understand. Brittany. No, I'm just gonna go and tell you. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you. So I never forget this. 17 years old. You could do the math, so you probably already doing
Oh,
the timeline. 17 years old. I never forget. I'm a type of person like I told you. I'm a empath. I can always feel stuff. I was already starting to have nightmares of my grandfather passing before he died. Before he died, so I'm always staying up at night, never went to sleep, always night owl because I'm afraid of this dream I was having of my grandfather passing. Even when I stayed up all night, when I did finally go to sleep, it was like somebody pressed pause on that dream. It will always be the same. I was at my grandfather's funeral. So I stopped going to sleep. Long story short, I told the person whom in which I was with about those dreams that I was having. Like, man, this is bothering me. I don't know what to do. Blah blah blah. I'm afraid. Fast forward, he passed. One argument we having, she says to me, "He been gone. Take your dumb a to sleep." So in my mind, you using exactly what I just told you. That was my most vulnerable state. You use exactly what I told you against me, to hurt me, to bother me. Although at a 17-year-old, it could have been, oh, those just kids, that's just an argument, that's just what you having. I carried that all the way into my adult life. I'm almost 40 years old. And I still remember what it felt like when I told somebody something that they could potentially use as a weapon against me later. So now it's like you become sheltered, and it's unfair to other people that's in your life, whether it's your parents, whether it's a significant other, whether it's your kids, that now they have to chisel down. They got to become a stone mason trying to chisel down that wall that you didn't build because what somebody else done did in the past. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. And I think it happens more so with men than it does with women because the women are just emotional creatures, not even in a bad way. Women wants that love story. Women want someone to say, you know what, I know what you went through in the past. I'm going to show you that I'm completely different from that. Whereas though for a man, I don't care what you're showing me. I know what happened to me last time, and that's not gonna happen to me again. You can show me that I can trust you with everything in the world, but all I'm gonna remember is what that 17-year-old girl told me at my most vulnerable state.
I'm a witness to that, so I agree.
So I think, you know, vulnerability is something that's we're gonna have to do a whole topic on that one day. The whole idea of being vulnerability, especially within this culture. Then being a man, what does vulnerability look like? Does vulnerability looks like telling your business? Or does vulnerability looks like, you know what, I'm gonna tell you this because I trust and love you enough that you won't use this against me. So that's definitely something that we need to talk about.
And but then you know what, that and another, let me just add to that. Um I think another thing that may go along well with being vulnerable is when you come to a place of acceptance. Because once you come to this place of acceptance, it's like, I don't care about what I tell you at this point, because you can't hold that against me, because I've dealt with it already. I've accepted it. So I'm willing to open up to you and tell you this. So I know later you can come back and you can say this to me as to like throw it in my face, but I'm in a place of acceptance with this. But I just wanted to share this with you because maybe it comes back up and it's something that you revisit, and it may make you emotional at that point. But you just want to vent about it this time.
I never heard that before or even thought about it in that perspective, and that's actually true. It's almost like someone that's a drug addict or alcoholic, whatever. Yep. You can't hold something against me that I already accepted, that I already said that, yep, I'm trying to deal with, I'm trying to heal from that. So that's extremely powerful within itself. And I never had this conversation with you before, so that's why I always like this, from the bar stool to the mic, because this is definitely a conversation we would have had, and you saying it definitely gave me some type of insight on, maybe that's why it bothered me so much then, because I didn't deal with it. I didn't deal with it in that moment, so that's why it probably bothered me to the point where it was so difficult for me to be vulnerable after that. And I was only 17 when it happened. That, yeah, I'm sure you remember that. I'm sure you're doing the time frame in your head.
It's a new reality now.
Now, before we go any further, you said you want to talk about something about red flags in family, and I want to hear about this. And I purposely didn't let you talk to me about it because I want to.
You wanted to hear about it in the raw.
Yeah. So what's going on with the red flags in the family?
So just like we talked about when we talk about red flags with people and dealing with people, like you just said, I believe you to be who you are. Mm-hmm. Like, it's different with red flags in family. Don't get me wrong. We got favoritism. We have communication issues. Like the list goes on. But those are some that I want to touch, especially with favoritism, because mine comes from a place where people don't understand. You can't favor. We both have 3 daughters. Mm-hmm. I mean, 3 kids, but you got 3 daughters. Some people would try to favor certain kids. It's like, no, they're together. You can't just pick one, like you want to do more for this one, or this one means so much more to you. I'm not the parent that allows that. Mm-hmm. So I've seen that, and I've seen it on Facebook too. Like, people show favoritism within family, and so I was like, you know what, I need to touch on this, because what's going on, y'all? We didn't deal with favorite cousins and that type of stuff.
I think human nature, we all have our favorite, but I think we have to be more conscious and have a mindset of not displaying it and being as flamboyant with it as possible. Because we all have a favorite. You can't sit here and tell me, out of all your kids, you don't have a favorite. Don't say which one it is.
I was going to say, my kids will tell you, because somebody done said this to them before, and I'm like, huh? My kids, mom ain't got no favorites. She love all us the same.
Oh no, I love all my kids.
They say it with their chest. Ain't no favorites.
Do you think they really believe it?
I think they believe it.
Because I think we can all love our kids the same, because there's nothing in my soul that would tell me that my grandfather wouldn't do anything and didn't love all of his kids and grandkids the same. He loved us all. But I'm going to tell you something he used to always say, and this wasn't as it relates to his grandkids, whatever, but he had a saying. He said, I love you for God's sake, but God didn't give you your ways. Meaning, I love you because God said I have to love you, but he didn't give you your ways. So I'm going to love you, but I don't like that you stump your feet every time I ask you for some water. I love you, but I don't like that you smack your lips because I asked you, can you pass me that glass over there? So guess what? I might favor the person that smiles and say, "Granddaddy, how much water you want?"
And that's you.
I ain't say all that. But I'm just saying we can love, but we all have our favorites.
Mhm.
Now, you're right. I got three girls. I love all my kids. They're exactly the same, but all three of them are my favorite in certain instances. As relates to if I'm just trying to watch some the lions in the safari, we watching Animal Planet or whatever. My favorite when it comes to that is Michaela. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna watch this Animal Planet. Morgan don't care about none of that. Now, when it comes down to just having a real conversation where you almost forget that this is a child, that's my Morgan. Me and Morgan, we gonna talk about it. We gonna live. We gonna talk. When it come down to honestly feeling as if someone genuinely love you, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what's going on at work, no matter what you've been reading, what you've been seeing, that's the oldest. That's the craziest thing. That's the oldest. Normally, that's the baby that you get this type of love that's unconditional. I get that from the oldest. Whereas though I get a love from her of saying, I loved you before you had them. You know, I was your first trial at being a father before they was here. I'm not going nowhere. You my daddy. So I get that type of favorite love from all three of them. So I don't favor it. So do I have favorites? Yeah, all three of them are my favorite.
That's what I'm saying. But they all possess different qualities that I like. So I mean, I like you said, I can favor those qualities. However, I love them all the same because y'all all bring something different to me, and y'all show me different things when it comes to our relationship. So yes, I don't have a favorite out of them.
See, but it's also
But
different as it relates to being a guy and a woman too. Because as
yeah,
a father, like if I buy Starbucks, I got to buy all three of them the exact same Starbucks
they got
cup.
them wrapped around his finger,
Yeah,
wrapped
you
around their finger.
you have to do things a certain type of way because if you buy one, if you can buy both of them an Apple Watch, and if one is beige and the other one's green, they're gonna say, "Well, why you give me the green one?" It's because we got a special bond, and when we was walking down the forest, we saw a green. So it's like you have to buy everything the same just so he won't have that issue.
It takes our wife to call in and tell this story, y'all. I wanted you ain't watching tonight.
So you ain't read this. I know you told me last week to not go through your mail,
Yeah, I did.
but this one is good.
I'm glad you heard me, but I mean,
I heard you, but you already know how we do. We don't listen to everything that we hear. So I'm gonna read this one to you, and I really want you to let this one sink in and dissect this one. If anybody is listening to this, I also want to hear your opinions on this as well. So if you want to call in to the No Friend podcast, the number is 1-708-223-8953. But wait till I finish reading because I really want y'all to hear this one. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. This is anonymous. Whew. Although writing this letter could be a bit embarrassing, the idea of being anonymous makes writing this letter both freeing and non judgmental. Being married for over 10 years, the intimacy, word of affirmations, date nights, etc., has dissipated to the point where something I'm not proud of, has ventured outside of my marriage. I know I have a good husband, but I have needs in which felt immediately met with some, immediately met with what started out as just a few flirtatious words months ago. Fast forward to most recent, not only have I been engaging with this guy physically, but we somehow find time to chat each morning, wherein which he speaks to both my soul and my inner ambition of wishing what I could receive the attention from my husband. Each time I meet at the hotel with this guy, I feel a sense of guilt, thinking to myself, although my husband doesn't intrigue me the way he once did, he still don't deserve this. Last week, when pulling into the parking lot of a hotel to meet with this guy I have been seeing, I noticed my husband walking into the same hotel with another woman. He didn't see me, and I am yet to say anything. I know this may seem a bit hypocritical, but I find myself not being able to enjoy myself with that guy because I was thinking about my husband with another woman. What should I do?
I'm gonna drink this tea. I'm gonna sip this tea first, y'all, because This tea is good.
So to summarize this lady has been engaging, this married woman has been engaging with another guy outside of her marriage. She was meeting with this guy. She saw her husband with another woman walking into the same hotel in which she was about to meet this guy. She feels some kind of way. She don't know whether she should or shouldn't approach him. What should she do? I can't wait to hear this one. And please, anybody, feel free, call in 708-223-8953.
First off,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you at this hotel with this other man who you said meeting all these needs, what she say? He spoke to her soul,
Spoke to her soul,
every morning. And what else did he speak to?
her soul, and her inner ambition to what her husband could possibly be. You kind of want to meet the guy she talking to, don't you? That's what you got to ask. You got to ask for that. Give her some advice. So ask her, what's that man?
I told you I got that Mike Lowry energy. No, but I'm a person. If I'm doing what I'm doing, I can't confront you for what you're doing because it's not fair.
She said she couldn't even focus on being with the guy because now she's worried about the guy. Her husband being with another woman.
Obviously, he ain't speaking to too much into her soul. He ain't reached the part that their husband reached in because she worried about what the husband doing with the other woman.
But you know how that is. People can do their own dirt. Then all of a sudden, when it's an issue, when somebody else doing it, now we need to have a come to Jesus conversation.
Say, let's talk about this, baby.
So what should she do?
I don't feel like she should approach her husband. Me, honestly, don't approach her husband. Just because you know the life that you've been living and you felt like you were fulfilled from this guy who you've been seeing outside of your marriage. I mean, although there's a guilt trip moment, but you're still carrying on with entertaining this other guy. So if you're going to keep entertaining him and he keeps speaking to your soul every morning,
and her inner ambition,
she wakes up every day.
So what you saying, you think she should just leave well enough alone?
Leave well enough alone. It's either leave well enough alone and stick to what you've been doing, or you're going to have to leave that alone and try to have that come to Jesus moment with your husband. So, but you are not going to be able to bring up this thing about him and this lady at this hotel.
So what you're saying is either she's going to talk to him about it, but she can't bring up what she saw him doing because...
Better say it was Shirley. Shirley saw him down to the hotel.
Well, I really am not going to give any advice on this because this was to you. But well, I think... I know a lot of women, especially women, always say this: why cheat? If you're not happy where you at, just leave. But we know that's not the reality. We know that's not the reality because of the simple fact, and like she said in the letter, I know he's a good man, but he's not doing certain things. Because we all know, men and women, we'll have a woman to say something to us. I'm gonna speak for me. I don't care. I'm gonna speak for me. I ain't scared. I ain't getting no trouble.
Barstool.
I'm gonna come sleep on your couch. So,
Jeremy,
there's something different about when you hear something that you're not hearing at home. And it's not saying that it was never said at home. Like, for example, I ain't gonna lie, I like this sweater you got on. Now, if you wasn't told that that's a beautiful sweater in what you have on, something gonna hit a little different when you pumping your gas and you say, you know what? That is a very beautiful sweater you have on. It's something about when someone says something to you that don't have to say it. Like, you get nothing out of telling me that, oh man, you look good today. I love the way you smell, or I like those shoes, or I like it feels good to get some of the affirmations where it seems as if you fight for some of that stuff at home or in those relationships or in a marriage or whatever. It just seems as if people become so accustomed to what it is that you have that you no longer appreciate it. And I'm not saying that you got to jump in the middle of the bed and say, oh my God, thank you so much for what you're doing. But sometimes it does feel good to hear your significant other say, you know what? You look good. Or you know what? Thank you for turn the coffee pot on for me this morning. You must knew I wanted a cup of coffee. But you know what would happen after a certain time? Oh, I'm just used to it. I already know I can walk downstairs 10 minutes later now because the coffee already gonna be brewing. Instead of saying, man, my husband actually, or my wife actually got that coffee brewing for me. We get so accustomed to the nice gestures that our significant others do that you think it's a given. No, it's not a given. This is me being nice to you.
I can stop cooking breakfast every day Wednesday, right smack in the middle of the week, just because you ain't been telling me thank you for the past 3 months. So I get that.
So, and that's why I say sometimes when you leave that desire of wanting to receive some type of affirmation or some that's thank you for doing it. That's good. That's something that normally don't happen. That's how would you say Shirley? That's how Shirley and that's how Tim sneak in. That's how they sneak in. So, word to the wise, ladies and gents, if you don't want nobody to sneak in, be in. If you don't want nobody to sneak in, be in.
Be involved. Say thank you. What you say? Show appreciation. Be grateful.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. So we about to get into the snaps, not claps. And we already know before I get into anything in which I read, I always want to give a shout out to somebody that inspired me or touched me or said some or did something that made me who I am. And the person I want to shout out today, I'm sure he don't even watch it because he don't even get on social media like that. But I still want to put it out in the atmosphere. My uncle CW. I called him old man CW, aka Clarence Williams Jr. This guy, he always listened to the blues. He always listened to music. And I never forget growing up, he lived right above me. And I would listen to music. And that was the first time that I understood what it was like for someone to express themselves through art, to express themselves through music. Because I would actually listen to the music. I'm like, man, he really talking about the woman that left him. Like, man, he really talking about the good time he having at the club. Like, man, he really doing that. And I never forget. My uncle came one day, he knocked on the door. He said, Cold Train. So that's what he used to call me. He used to call me Cold Train. He was like, man, you got to listen to this song. So he always, anytime he heard a song that he thought would inspire me, he'd give me a song to listen to. And this is me, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I never forget all the way through high school. It was this girl that I really, really, really wanted to be with. Should I say her name?
It was high school.
I say her name. Her name was Ave Green. I really, really, really wanted to be with this girl.
I bet it was your girlfriend for a
I think like 2 days. It was like 2 days. It wasn't long. It was like 2 days. And after, and now 2 days, when you with somebody in high school, being with somebody from 2 days, that means you didn't carry their books, you didn't gave them your extra chocolate milk, and you doing all the stuff in what you think a boyfriend is supposed
at
to
the
do.
locker.
But what what makes me think about this is after after she no longer wanted to talk to me, I felt as if I had to write the blues too. So I never forget. I went home. I grabbed a piece of paper
I
and a
thought you was
pencil.
gonna say Mr. Tillman. Had you right?
I went downstairs in the basement, and it was we had a pool table in the basement. I never forget. I sat on top of the pool table, and these are the words I wrote. I said, "Mama said everything that glitter isn't gold, and everything that's sweet isn't good." Now, although my mama never said that to me, I felt, man, if this was a blues song, this is what they would say. That was advice that they would give that could really make them feel good. It's funny now, but I didn't know so many years later, books later, and traveling, talking, and doing all this stuff later, that that moment would develop because of what my uncle showed me. That you can express yourself through music, you can express yourself through writing, you can express yourself. And guess what? I never even gave that to Abe.
Did you share it in music in Mr. Tillman's
I
class?
never did. I
Because you
never
know we
shared.
had to write the blues in
I
there
know.
too.
I never shared it, but I just remember me writing and knowing that I can express myself this way.
Yeah.
This time last week, you and I was walking down the stairs, and you was like, "Man, I thought Mr. Virgo was about to step out right there." I was like, "Nah, I'm trying to, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be good." And a certain somebody, ain't saying no names, Miss Wanda, said to me, "Where he at? Is he coming next week?" I was like, "Oh no, he may not come next week." So the piece in which I wrote today, I'm just going to read it to you, and Y'all read between the lines.
Come on, Mr. Virgo.
Once upon a time, it was the sound of the thunder that echoed behind the dripping of the rain against the windowsill. Night had wrapped its darkness around the moon while offering a touch of tranquility within its stars. On this night, a Virgo was born to the parents of passion and ecstasy. Each and every night, this Virgo would lay at the feet of his parents, intrigued by the lessons of orgasmic sensations built on the foundation of pleasure. It was the soundproof room that the sexual melody of fantasies played riding the piano keys, where each stroke was sealed by the lips of seduction blowing its flute. This Virgo, like a bird, grabbed branches of intimacy until the nest of sexual gratitude became the habitat of erotic explosions. To this Virgo, say yes. Not perfect, but promising to perfect the imperfections in a zodiac's world filled with impossibilities that feel possible due to the nourishment of your uncertainties being touched by the certainties of my lips. Fluidity of my words, easing your seconds to depend on the minutes buried in the wet soil of hours until the setting of the sun, overlooking horizon of dawn. To this Virgo, say yes. This Virgo will smell your fragrance with his eyes while making love to your silhouette fully clothed. The sensation infused the water dripping from the cherry dangling inches from the taste buds of his tongue. Say yes. Falling deep in the novelty of your soul, chapter by chapter, say yes. The feeling of the feelings felt before, but ignorance of the feeling of the feelings never been felt before. Say yes. Hearing the silence in braille while reading the passions written on pages of your soul. Say yes. The melody played with no sound, while the sexiness of being trapped with no walls, captive to the hands of ecstasy. To yes, to this Virgo, say yes. Snap, snap, claps.
You always coming with a good piece.
I know, but you got to blame Miss Wanda for that. I was gonna leave Mr. Virgo where he was. He was minding his business. He was minding his business, and she was like, "Where he at?" Like, all right, you gonna have to make an appearance.
Right, you keep talking about him. We want to see him, hear him.
Mhm.
Come on out.
All right, that was fun. Now, this is the part that Britt, I don't know if you've been noticing. Have you noticed how popular this segment has been getting as it relates to the views and Facebook and YouTube and everything? Everybody seems to can wait to hear that word of the week, that word of the day. You've been dropping some gems, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been living off some of the stuff that you've been saying. Especially everything doesn't require a response. My silence has been so loud lately. So
It's one of my
if you can give a
favorites.
word of the day that will help someone get through the rest of the week, what would it be? Let's hear it. Word of the day.
I'm gonna give everybody, including myself, what I gave you last week. If it's not addressed to you, don't open it. So with that means if you can hear people saying things in general, whether you may feel offended by it or not. Sometimes people say things, and like even with scrolling on the timeline, people may post something, and we on social media, and sometimes we feel the need to respond. If it's not addressed to you, you don't have to respond. Don't apply, let it fly. Keep going.
I like that. Return to sender.
Scroll. Return the sender.
Return to sender.
Return the
You know, all
sender.
I need is a little bit. I'm gonna come with something. now.
Return
All I
to
need is a little
sender.
bit. Return to sender. I like that.
So yes, that's gonna be my thing. That's gonna be my thing for the week. Like I'm gonna even apply that myself.
Man, return to sender. And what's for you is for you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we be trying to lean on other people's blessings, but what's for you is for you. Your blessing is yours. What he say in life, go get your own portion of cornbread. What's
You can't
yours is
have my
yours. You can't have my
cornbread.
portion of cornbread. What's yours is yours. For me, my word, quote, or whatever it is you want to call it for the week is continue to smile. It confuses the people that prey upon your downfall.
Ooh.
It confuses them because rather whomever listens to this, you ma'am, you sir, whoever listening, somebody right now is confused to the fact of why are you smiling and you just lost your job? Why are you smiling? And I know that I heard through the grapevine that they just took your Section 8. Or why is you smiling and your guys on in somebody else inbox saying, I know about it, but I ain't saying nothing because I can't wait for you to find out it. Why are you smiling when everybody at work is talking about you behind your back, but not knowing if you smile, you confuse them. While you confusing them, you giving yourself time to be in solitude with God. And when you're in solitude with God, that's when you can actually cry in that room. You can actually have those conversations with God and say, God, this is what's going on for me. And all while you smiling, you confusing them. Now God can work on your behalf. But we get so caught up in worrying about those people that's saying what they're saying that we forgetting the person to talk to. We have all this guilt or this even pleasure of dealing with people. Like you already said, if it's not addressed, you don't worry about it. And what you need to do is drown out the noise, go into solitude and talk to God about whatever it is that's going on. But in the meantime, in between time, smile because it confuses your enemy. They don't know why you smiling. So continue to smile and let that be.
You know what? And I like that. That's confirmation for me because y'all pray for my children. They just lost their grandmother earlier this week or earlier last week. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody asked me like, well, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm dealing, my kids, they grieving. So, I'm trying to be there for them. And I'm like, I'm still going through the grieving process myself. So I'm like, it's difficult, but I got it. And they're like, well, you know what? You don't look like how you said you feel. Well, how am I supposed to look? Am I supposed to be moping? Or like you said, am I supposed to look how I feel? I smile through it all because me moping is not going to change the way that I feel. So you smile, to hope that it brings some sense of positivity. So yes, confuse the enemy, confuse those who are preying on you.
Even what you're saying, you know why else you should continue to smile? It's one thing about going into a fight and you don't know the results, but it's a difference when you go into the fight and you know the fight is fixed. Because God already said that He's not going to put more on you that you can't bear. So if you know you're going into the fight and you know you're going to win, no matter how many times you take a blow, no matter how many times it look like you're going to lose, you already know the outcome. So they looking at, why is this woman smiling? She getting beat up. She getting beat up by bills. She getting beat up by relationships. She getting beat up by financial issues. She getting beat up because of her job. She getting beat up because of all this, but yet and still she's still smiling.
Say I ain't a victim, I'm victorious. Ho!
There it is. Oh, I like that one. That one gonna preach itself. You know what? We're gonna be right back here next week at the same time, 8 o'clock at the No Friend Zone podcast. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share with somebody else because we're gonna keep coming each and every week with more heat. So enjoy the rest of your week. We see y'all next Monday.